Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to MLB 2K23. Not the game, they are not remaking 2K MLB, but this is my fantasy baseball league. It is a 10-team ESPN head-to-head categories, 5x5, somewhat traditional rosters, and 13-keeper Dynasty League. Let's check it out. You can join by emailing me at jmorkanj@gmail.com. So here is our default roster. So our roster is 26-man rosters. This is pretty standard for most fantasy leagues until this year. I know ESPN changed their default format, but you got catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, middle infield, corner infield, 5 outfield league, 1 utility, and we got 4 bench slots, all right? 4 bench slots, and we're going to have 4 ILs. We're going to have 9 pitcher slots, doesn't matter, starting pitcher or relief pitcher. Now, let's go to the next main part. That is our scoring. So, what is our categories for scoring? Glad you asked. We're going to do pretty standard 5x5. The only difference is saves plus holds instead of saves. The reason for that is I don't want Emmanuel Class A going in the frickin' 4th round of a draft. I do not believe in the volatility of relief pitchers making a huge impact on a fantasy league. I think that's just too subjective, if you know what I mean. So we're going to do saves plus holds, and this is going to put the value of relief pitchers down, and it's also going to be pretty more traditional relievers in terms of the fantasy game, to where later on in the draft you'll find your guys who are going to get you 30 plus saves plus holds. There's going to be a lot of them that exist, and it's also going to go more on the most talented, skilled relievers instead of the most bona fide closers. And so that is our no more, checking the closer chart. Who's closing this week for this team? Enough of that. I do not like that. Go for the best possible relievers you can find that are going to have the best ERAs, the best whips, the best Ks per 9. And that's going to be that. Great. Now, as you saw, you might have seen in the league, we had a pull-up, average or on base percentage. That is why, or the reason for that is, I don't know. I kind of am starting to lean towards on base. Now, I do not have a vote in this. This is for the rest of the league to vote on. So far, we have 2 votes on base percentage. So if you guys want to go on base, I know batting average is an ancient stat. It's all about on base percentage in terms of valuing players in WAR and the salaries that they get and the value on the lineup spot that they get. Everything's all about on base. You look at the best hitters, Juan Soto, that makes a huge difference for him. Mike Trout as well, huge on base guys that are not necessarily high batting average. So that is that. Also, let's check our keepers. We are allowed 13 keepers. Now, why did I pick 13? Because it's 26-man roster, 13 keepers. You will keep half of your team year to year, no less than 13. I want to make that clear because there was a little discrepancy in that earlier. And so it is 13 keepers. So the way we're going to have to divvy that up is, you might not have 13 players you want to keep on your team because you could just redraft better players. But we do not want to do that. The reason for that is this is a Dynasty League. We want to keep the same team identity year over year. We want teams to be recognizable year over year. I think it'd be really cool to have a player 5+ years on the same team. If you get like a Julio Rodriguez, then maybe that could be a 10-year keeper. I mean, how cool would that be? We don't have any barriers to keeping. What I mean by that is there's no extra fee. There's no extra auction value. This is no auction league. This is all just, hey, if you get Ronald Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, and Juan Soto, you can keep all 3 of those guys for 10 years if you want at no penalty. That is why it is called Dynasty. The reason I'm so excited about this format is if you suck, you have incentive to keep playing throughout the year. Why? Because you're stacking on prospects. You're making trades. You're selling at the trade deadline. You got to, say you had a 32-year-old JD Martinez who was just raking a couple years ago. And he's going to be good for another couple years, but he's not a building block for the future. You could trade him for some young talent to a contender, just like in real life. That's super exciting. Speaking of that, we have a trade deadline. Our trade deadline is going to be it's going to be August 14th, so halfway through August, 2 weeks before the playoffs start, is the trade deadline. So that's very cool. Trade review period is 2 days, and it will take 4 votes to veto a trade. We do not want any collusion, obviously. I don't think that'll be a problem in this league, but we will have active owners who are on top of things, making sure that no crazy trades are happening. If something slips through the cracks, I, as the commissioner, will still hold power to veto a trade if I deem that it is unfair or completely unbalanced. Once again, I don't think we're going to have that issue because we're going to have smart owners like you joining this league. And so I'm not worried about that. All right, so standard playoff format. It is 4 playoff teams, 2 weeks per matchup. Head-to-head record's the tiebreaker. Of course, the whole player universe. Here we have my team, Harlem World, Tyrell Corporation, Team Nasty Nate. Welcome, welcome, welcome all 4 of you awesome members. This is going to be super fun. All right. Now, games played limits. It's 1.3 starts per slot. So you have 9 slots. You're allowed 12 starts in a regular 7-day matchup. Now, in the playoffs, this is obviously more because it's going to be a 2-week matchup. So it's going to be doubled, 24 starts. Now, one thing we need to talk about as a league. So you can exploit this rule on the last day. Say you are at you're at 11 starts, and then you're going into Sunday, the last day of your matchup, and you have 5 starts scheduled for that day. You can get all 5 of those starts and burst over the limit of 12. So that is a way to exploit it. If you already lost ERA whip and you are a little bit down on Ks and wins, you want to get your Ks and wins and win that matchup, you can exploit that. Now, I would like to hear you guys' feedback on that. Should we make a house rule, basically, not allowing that and keeping it at a firm 12 and just using integrity to prevent that from happening? It's kind of a shame that ESPN does not have a way to nerf that. It's just, I literally lost a league. I lost a championship off that. That really made me not happy. I'm not going to lie. But then the last year, I tried using it and I almost succeeded, but ran out of matchup acquisitions. Now, that's the thing. You have matchup acquisitions. So you have 1 per day. You can pick up 1 person per day. Not a limit of 1 per day, but on 7 per 7-day matchup. 14 for 14. And so you can do that. But if you are exploiting pitchers, you're going to run out of moves throughout a 14. If you're like, you got injuries throughout your lineup, all that kind of stuff. So I think that kind of balances it out as well. So right now I'm open to just leaving it as it is. If someone wants to exploit it, they can. It's kind of just the gamesmanship of fantasy baseball. But I want everyone to be aware of that rule or loophole, basically. All right. What else do we got to talk about? So let's talk about the buy-in. All right, let's bring our League Safe into this, our League Safe page. Here are the league classifieds. We got 10 leagues already up. Awesome to have a lot of people already ready to play some fantasy baseball. So if you scroll down on League Safe, League Classifieds, hit MLB, you're going to find my league. It is Competitive Dynasty. 10 teams active, passionate owners, 13 keepers. That says it all. So you're going to click on here, and then you can contact me, or you can join the league right here. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I have another overview of the league and important information. It is a $150 buy-in. The league safe fee is about $6. I think it's $156.25 for the entire thing, which is pretty awesome. It's only like a small percentage of the entire fee, and that keeps it a safe place to put your money in. Now, we already have 2 paid owners, 4 people in the league. They will be paying soon. Friendly reminder, please pay as soon as possible. And here is the payout information down here at the bottom. So first place is going to make $800. Second place is going to be $450. Third place $250. So if you win 1 playoff matchup, basically, you are guaranteed income from this league. $150 will just be a small entry fee for the amount of hours we're going to spend on this league. It's going to be so much fun. So I love incentivizing activity and success, obviously. I just think it's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, if you win the league at the end of the year, you're just sitting pretty, you get a huge check. That'll be pretty awesome. But I don't want it to be so high that if you lose on everything, then you just lost a big investment. So I want it to be in the middle. But this year it's going to be $150. Obviously, we will vote. We will discuss within the members on what the best way of going forward is with it. But as you can see right here, I really want to make relationships with my fellow league members. So you guys are all around the U.S. or all around the world. Who knows where you're playing fantasy baseball from? But really, I want to start a group text, whether it's on Facebook Messenger. I'm thinking start a group me text where we have everyone in a group as well as individual access to texting people, because I want to make trades just like they do in the pros. I want to be like Billy Bean in Moneyball, calling up my man Jason. Hey, Jason, bro, I want frickin' Tatis Jr. What do you got? He's going to say, I will not give in to you unless you give me Vladimir Guerrero and a draft pick. Too easy. I got you. We'll be done. Boom. And then we can go online and make the trade. That'll be super cool. So I really want some camaraderie in this draft. I also want to do a Zoom call draft so that we can all get on, talk some smack, talk strategy, find out whose favorite teams is, so that way we can, offer them players from that team because they're going to want them team players. All right, so let's check out the message board. Here, I want to keep a lot of activity on the message board in the league. So we'll figure out what works best. I want to use GroupMe and the message board. But I want this to be here so that we can have constant communication. And it's very nice that I can put out updates. So please check this frequently, because I will be just updating and putting out information for the league to know about pretty periodically. And then in the message board, we're going to check out the message board. We have our league constitution. So as we go, we are going to be updating this with house rules that cannot be enforced by ESPN. I'm going to be putting out rules like if I were to make that 12 start limit concrete, I would put that in here. Obviously, we want to have integrity and follow the rules so that everyone has a great experience and it's all balanced and fair and even as good as we can get. I really don't want to have a lot of those issues so that someone's leaving a review on CBS Sports Fantasy Baseball Podcast and saying, "Fantasy justice, give me justice. My league commissioner is doing this, and this person made this trade, and it's not fair." I don't want that in this league, so we're going to really communicate. We're really going to establish clear-cut black and white rules to ensure that nobody is getting exploited. Everyone has a fair chance to dominate and start a dynasty. I'm very excited about the strategy that is going to be implemented by the various owners. Everyone's going to have their own strategy, their own tendencies. How far out are you looking in your dynasty league? Are you looking out 5 years from now? Are you drafting players with a 5-year window in mind? What about a 2-year window? What about you win now? What about 3 years? What about even beyond 5 years?
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
So much changes in fantasy, we all know, year over year. And so I'm so excited to see the mismatch of all of the different strategies, all the experience levels of the players. It's going to be freaking awesome. So that's a brief introduction. If you want to join this league, please comment below. Get in contact with me. You can email me at jmorkanj@gmail.com and get involved in this league. But please be aware that if you want access to this league, you got to be passionate, you got to be active, and you got to be active with the other owners. I want people that are here to talk and communicate. Most importantly, I think communication within a fantasy baseball league makes it so much more enjoyable. So without further ado, let's do this. See you in the draft. Oh, the draft. The draft is March 26th at 2:45 p.m. Hawaii time, Central Time. That accounts to 6:45 or 7:45 p.m. This will be a Sunday evening draft, Sunday, March 26th. That is a week before the season, and payment is due 1 week before the draft is the due date on payment. Alrighty, my friends, that sums it up. We got 2 months before the draft. Let's do it. Join the league. Let's have fun. See ya.